Howdy guys, Jason Lewis here, and today on the saga of old large Marge here, I was going to show you how to measure the offset for your rims to fit the maximum amount of tire underneath your stock wheel wells, but they were selling off some rims and tires from other project cars at work the other day, and I found a set that I really like, so I bolted them on. You should check this out. That's right. Those are Super Swamper mud tires, and the Mustang looks awesome, right? The fronts are 31 inches tall, and the rears are 37s, and the offset seems a little off, but hey, they were cheap. Okay, maybe I've seen Mad Max a few too many times, so let's get the Mustang back in the air and these monster mud tires off. Oh, by the way, you might recognize these rims and tires from the Roadkill episode when Freiburger and Finnegan ran the muscle truck on the sand dunes. Now, since these rims were smaller, these are 16-inch rims, Wheelwood recommends a minimum of 17 for these. I put a little tape on to protect these really awesome calipers for our little gag here. So no worries, no Wheelwood, beautiful, super light 6-piston calipers were harmed in this stunt. And next up, I'm gonna show you how to measure for maximum tire size and wheel spacing to make your car look awesome. Okay, now that we got the car back up in the air on the jack stands, I have them shimmed front to back and side to side, so it's pretty much level. Now, we're gonna hang some strings from the farthest out points in the wheel wells to give us a hard point in space that we can measure from our rim mounting surface to that line. Now, what I did was I grabbed a handful of large nuts. Oh man, that sounds so hilarious. Anyway, I'm a grown man, we can do this. Anyway, and I tied them, I cut some string, and I take a little piece of Gorilla tape, duct tape, or whatever you want, and just put that on there like that. Got one, got two, and likewise through the rest of these things. Meanwhile, I got my little helper over there, Pinto. Oh, girl. She loves when I have to get under the car and work. She thinks that I'm down there for her. Oh, and if you're wondering what this amazing piece of hardware is sitting here on the bench, well, it's something from Total Control Products, and I don't want to give it away too much, but it rhymes with rack and pinion. Yeah, that'd be fair. Anyway, stay tuned in the next month or two because that's pretty friggin' exciting. Hi, girl. Oh, that's a good girl. All right, since my helper seems to think that every time I put this comforter on the ground to get down here and work on the car, she thinks it's hers. What, is it time for some Frisbee? Let's give it a break for a second. We play Frisbee all the time. All right, move it. Move your butt. Move your butt. Go. Thank you. All right. So what I'm gonna try to do now is find this kind of center point that I could pick up on both sides of the car. So there's an actual hole here where a trim ring used to go. So what I'll do is just put it in the same spot on both sides. So I have a very equal reference point, and it's also just the widest part of this lip, and then there's this inner fender here. By doing this, we're now going to be able to measure to fit the widest tire. Since I'm ordering new rims for this thing, I'm going to show you how to do the measurements to set the backspace for your rim to just go ahead and get the biggest, widest tire without changing anything else in here. Likewise on the front, find a spot that's something you could just get a nice frame of reference that's going to be about the same on both sides. So I'm just going to center it up right here on the shock. All right, keep your nuts from swinging too much. Oh boy. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do the front end first, since it's going to be a little bit easier since I'm not going really aggressive here. I'm shooting probably for an 8-inch wide rim. It's been done a lot of times. 4 3/4 backspace is usually a safe bet here, but I'm going to show you how to get that done or find that measurement on your own. Now, you want to do it at ride height. So we're on jack stands here, and from the Total Control Products brochures and documentation, I know that
we want shock eyelet to shock eyelet height at 14¼ inches to simulate ride height. So I'm gonna go ahead, pull the bolt out of the top shock, jack this thing up, and make sure that I got this thing at the right height. And there you go. So now we'll do our measurements. So since I'm shooting for a 17-inch rim on the front of this car, your biggest enemy is pretty much this, the upper ball joint mounting location, because a 17-inch rim pretty much just barely clears this. So this is the enemy. So your backspace is basically fighting this, because if you take a 17-inch rim, center it up on the center of the hub, which is about 8½ inches, you can see it goes right there, okay? So the trick in this case is basically trying to get your wheel centered up between not hitting here on the ball joint on the upper A-arm and clearing the inner lip of the fender. Now I haven't rolled this lip yet. I might not even have to, but it's not a bad idea to get that done. But right now I'm gonna go ahead and make my clearance for the rim, counting that that's not gonna get done. Like if you at home don't have your inner fender lip rolled, this measurement will actually work for you. Okay, so I'm gonna take this measurement, and from the ball joint on the upper A-arm to the inner lip on the fender, I'm showing 10 and about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, so tons of room, tons of room for an 8-inch wide rim. Now, if you wanted to go 9-inch, you gotta remember that the 9-inch rim, the carcass of the tire is actually gonna be a little bit wider than the rim. So you have to make sure that you leave that clearance. So now we have a straight edge on the actual rim mounting surface, which is this Wilwood brake rotor hat. We're gonna go ahead and get a measurement from this inner ball joint on the upper A-arm to that mounting surface. And I'm showing 4 7/8. So that means that a 4 3/4 backspace is actually plenty of room to clear here. Okay, so now that we're in the back of the car, this one's kind of a little more important to me in the sense that this one really sets the aggressive tone or nature to the car. So I want to really fit as much tire as close to the lip as possible in the back here. So what I'm going to do first, because I have this awesome Total Control Products 4-bar suspension in here, I'm going to show you the adjustment, or at least the starting of the fine-tuning adjustments of this. I have everything in here right now at just the factory default settings from the install. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the same as in the front. We're gonna pull the bolts out of the shocks here, get the thing up to a simulated ride height, which is 13½ inches shock eyelet to shock eyelet in the rear. And then we're gonna center the rear axle. Now with you guys with the leaf spring cars, you can't do that. Your axle is just where it is. This is one of the reasons why I'm stoked to have this rear suspension in this car. Tons of adjustability. So now by adjusting these upper control links, you not only have the control over adjusting the pinion angle to whatever you'd like, you can also center the axle left or right inside the house, underneath the car here. So now by turning these things together at the same direction, you're now adjusting just the pinion angle. As you can see, the pinion angle is dropping now. So if I'm turning these this way, I can set the pinion angle up or down. Okay, so as you can see, by 90 degrees, according to the car, if it's level, that's just, straight up and down. So we're just gonna set that to 3 degrees, which would equal 87 on this gauge. And it is just exactly this easy to do that. Now we can also adjust the direction or the centering of the axle inside underneath the car here by turning them the same direction in or out. So now I'm turning this in and the axle is moving towards the passenger side. I'm turning them out and now it's moving towards the driver's side. Okay, so now that we have the rear end pretty much dialed for this preliminary measurement, we have it at ride height, we have it centered in underneath the car, we have the pinion angle at 3 degrees. Now it's time to measure. Right now I have the housing 5 3/8 on both sides now, dead even to the string on the outer lip. Let's figure out what backspace we want by putting our straight edge up here on the mounting hat and say, I'm gonna do a 10-inch rim, and if I give myself 1.5 inches from the outer lip to account for wheel deflection and the edge of the wheel on a 10-inch rim, that means a 6-inch backspace. So that 6-inch backspace now allows me plenty of room on the inside of this fender well for lots of deflection, lots of travel, no rub. It's gonna be great. And a 10-inch rim fits a 285 section tire, no problem. Now I have one here I'm gonna put up in the wheel well just to show you how cool that's gonna look. Okay, so now just to give you a size reference, this is a Continental Extreme Contact 285 section tire. It's just a loaner from work. The Roadkill guys use these on the Corvette go-kart, and I just borrowed it just to give you an idea of the size tire that a 10-inch rim is designed for, and that's this right here. As you can see, there's plenty of room, and even though the tire is optimized for a 10-inch rim, the width I measured at the sidewall of this tire is actually 11.5 inches wide, so I left a little extra space to accommodate that. I want to be able to really hammer on this car and not worry about tires rubbing at all. From the underside, you get an even better view of the snug but practical fit of the 285 width tire. This is going to look good and handle great. So there it is, the potential stance on the Mustang and how to measure to get your car with the right amount of tire. Now it looks like I need to be playing Frisbee with the Pinto dog here. So we're gonna go do that, and I'll go order some rims. In the next video, hopefully you'll see this thing sitting on the ground with a really bitchin' stance. All right, we'll see you next time. Enjoy your drive. Come on. Good catch, Pinto.